Today's topic is Digital Computers Fundamentals, Chapter 6 Peripherals and Memory. Today's subtopic is Cathode Ray Tube. Okay, the cathode ray tube is a very important topic since it has been asked many times in the examination, that too for 10 marks. Okay, see, as you can see in the cathode ray tube, we have the first part is the filament, or we can also call it as the cathode. The cathode is the filament which is heated up to a very high temperature, and the cathode begins to emit the electrons. Okay, so there the next topic is part is the control grid. Okay, the control grid is the one which controls the flow of electrons. We can reduce the number of electrons flowing, or we can increase the number of electrons flowing. Okay, the control grid stops the electrons or increases the number of electrons. Okay, then there is an accelerating anode. The accelerating anode is the one which increases the speed of the electrons. See, the control grid, when it increases the number of electrons, what happens is that the electrons will not be having enough power to reach the phosphor coated screen. Okay, so it may fall down, or it may lose strength and may not reach the phosphor coated screen. So what happens? The accelerating anode will increase the speed of the electrons, and then the next thing is the focusing system. The focusing system sees to that the electrons are completely focused and is not distracted while it reaches the screen. Okay, then there is horizontal deflecting plates and vertical deflecting plates. These two plates, what happens, exactly makes the electrons focus on the phosphor coated screen. Then there is a metal coating on the sides of the CRT, cathode ray tube, that what happens is avoids the electrons from spilling out of the CRT. And the phosphor coated screen contains phosphor elements coated on the screen to make the electrons glow on the screen, so that we can clearly watch what is being displayed on the screen. So the cathode ray screen explanation, it has a oxide coated metal called cathode, which is heated by a heating filament. The cathode will be heated by heating filament. Why it is heated? So when it is of high temperature, it will release the electrons, it will emit the electrons. So when the cathode is heated, it begins to emit the electrons continuously. The emitted electrons will be accelerated by applying a positive voltage across the control grid. As I said, when we apply a positive voltage, the number of electrons increases, and when we apply a negative voltage, then the number of electrons decreases. The negative voltage, if it is applied on the screen, on the control grid, then no electrons will be emitted. Okay, so we have to increase the speed of the electrons. So the accelerating anode increases the speed of the electrons, so that all the electrons reaches the screen of the CRT. Okay, now then the electrons, on the way, it passes through the set of vertical and horizontal deflection plates. When the electrons passes through the horizontal and vertical deflection plates, it will be properly focused on the screen. Okay, so that we can clearly see what is being displayed on the screen. Okay, so the electron movement can be controlled along the x-axis and y-axis by using the horizontal and vertical deflection plates, and we can make the electron beam properly focus on the CRT screen. the electron beam coming out of the horizontal vertical deflection plates are further accelerated along the path. Okay, the speed has to be further increased so that all the electrons reaches the screen. The accelerated undeflected high intensity electron beam hits the phosphor coated screen at high speed and illuminates the CRT screen, and thus we can see the display on the screen. Okay, this is how the working of CRT is. CRT principle is there. Okay, so this has 10 marks. This is a 10 marks question, so we can properly prepare on this. This keyboard question and the CRT question, both of them, one question is compulsory to be appearing in the question paper. So prepare this topic well.